Many generations of Irish and indeed Dubliners will know of the M50 motorway surrounding Dublin. Many may also remember the toll gates onto the West Link bridge of the M50 and constant traffic jams as a result. How many people perhaps question why there is a toll on the M50 in the first place? Why did it first appear and how? Even after the toll booths were removed in the early noughties to be replaced with e-tolling, is it still accepted? Why exactly are the public being charged to cross a bridge on a public road, as is the case for other tolls around the country? The reason began in 1987, when an agreement was made between a private company called National Toll Roads to toll the M50 at the West Link location. This deal was to prove so horrendously made, it would haunt the government for years to come for the cost it would incur, the scandal and corruption that would be uncovered in its doing, and the misery it would inflict on the Irish public, as well as the waste of public money to happen as a result. The government up until as recent as 2020, for almost 40 years, have remained inept and helpless on the matter of the M50 and all the cost it has entailed due to their predecessors of the 80s, allowing such a costly deal with lack of conviction and foresight to occur, as well as key players in particular doing so for their own selfish and corrupt ends. Former independent Senator Shane Ross made an investigation in 2005 into this contract between National Toll Roads and relevant government departments of Dublin City Council, the National Road Authority, and Department of the Environment. This wasn't easy to come by, resulting in an anonymous public servant coming forward with a copy of the agreement. Such details disclosed included hidden costs to the state heavily in National Toll Roads' favour, 100% capital allowances for the project's construction costs, a waiver of VAT on tolls, as well as exemptions on local authority rates for the bridge. A by now notorious figure in the matters of planning permission from Dublin City Council, the late George Redmond, signing off on the deal for a kickback, as well as then Minister for the Environment Padraig Flynn, made the investigation even more important. This revelation of the crooked Redmond's involvement, as well as the minister, when reported in the news, began an avalanche of pressure on both National Toll Roads and the government to resolve the toll booth situation under increasing public outcry and pressure. In an effort to save face and avoid another further public scandal, National Toll Roads published the full contract the very next day of the breaking news story for everyone to see. It included terms indeed heavily in their favour, with no state revenue for the first 27,000 cars a day, a further 30% only for the following 8,000 cars, 40% for a further 10,000, and finally 50% for every car beyond the 45,000 mark. These conditions were written on the basis that National Toll Roads assumed car numbers would never get to 45,000 a day at the time, but underestimated this, forecasting the toll to reach such numbers upon returning the road to the state in 2020. Regardless, the government at the time were under continuous public pressure and political worry on the matter, with much deliberation if to buy out National Toll Roads, while weighing up the pros and cons of the cost to remove the toll booths. An estimated figure for the time was €500 million. National Toll Roads, anticipating this, wrote a clause into the contract of a monthly compensation payment equal to the monthly average of tolls paid during the previous 12 months, as well to be index-linked as far up as 2020. National Toll Roads truly had the government between a rock and a hard place. National Toll Roads was established by one of the founders of major Irish business, Cement Road Stone Holdings, Tom Roche. Along with his son, after retiring wealthy from the business he founded with his brother Donald, thought upon starting a toll road business, having his first success with the building of the East Link toll bridge at Dublin's Docklands, after making a deal with Dublin Corporation and the Dublin Port and Docks Board. It was a fair and honest business agreement compared to his next move on approaching Dublin City Council and Department of the Environment on proposing the West Link toll bridge. Roche wanted a quick deal, resorting to corruption in order to get it. The Flood Tribunal revealed Roche, through National Toll Roads, paid the late Fianna Fáil TD Liam Lawler €74,000 in consultancy fees, later claimed by Roche to be a political donation, with Lawler then denying making any decisions in their favour for any amount of money. In 1992, Roche again, through National Toll Roads, donated £8,000 to Padraig Flynn, the very minister who, along with George Redmond, signed off on the deal, resulting in it being agreed without competition or tender. While at the Flood Tribunal, Roche and National Toll Roads solicitors argued they were taking a risk, sinking millions of their own capital into the project, claiming unknown return on investment, and placing further blame on the government in an effort to deflect from themselves, all the while knowing what conditions had been drawn up in the contract, as effectively a license to print money, virtually tax-free, while government, and therefore the public, got a bad deal. The government of the 80s were, however, in some ways to blame, fearing public backlash, took minimum risk and therefore minimum responsibility in allowing a private company charge the Irish public access to a road, effectively paid for by their taxes. What was worse, when choosing what form of compensation to take, when it came to drawing up the contract, the state's inaction meant they failed to take the option of an equity stake, and so having no say in how the company was run, or, in the event of a buyout offer, a right to a share in the profits. Secret talks took place in 2006 to begin hashing out a deal between government and National Toll Roads. By 2007, public pressure had reached boiling point, with the government finally being backed into a corner to buy them out, if the right offer was made, with the agreement finally announced February that year of a buyout, costing the taxpayer a total of €600 million. Had Redmond and Flynn chosen an equity stake in 1987, by 2007, would have reaped dividends for the public coffers. Having a say in the company could have pressured selling to another private buyer, take over operations, and so foot the cost of removing the toll booths, install e-tolling, and make a handsome profit in the process. Instead, lack of foresight, cronyism, and greed by a powerful few shackled the tax-paying public into decades of burden, sunken cost, and commuter misery.